Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Maybe you remember that the fights in Severodonetsk were basically won by the Russians again, and whatever was left of the Ukrainian army in Severodonetsk in the Azot plant, the chemical plant, they just retreated across the river, Severodonetsk River, on the west side, leaving behind civilians, Ukrainian civilians that took refuge in the Azot plant, chemical plant. The Russians seem to take control of the whole Severodonetsk, and Ukrainians were hoping to muster some courage and go on the defensive in Lysychansk, which is next door to Severodonetsk. Well, it seems like they're going to be kicked out of Lysychansk as well because they're afraid of being encircled by the Russian army. So we have this article from the Telegraph, and it states that Ukrainian troops may need to pull back from Lysychansk, says governor. Ukrainian troops may need to retreat from the frontline city of Lysychansk to avoid encirclement after Russian forces captured two settlements to its south, regional governor Serhiy Gaidai said today. Well, in order, and I'm citing, I'm quoting whatever this guy said. In order to avoid encirclement, our command could order that the troops retreat to new positions, he said on national television. And I'm quoting again, although Lysychansk is within reach of their fire, it is very dangerous in the city. He said Lysychansk could still be reached by road, allowing civilians evacuations to continue. Russia's TASS news agency had earlier cited Russian-backed separatists as saying the city was surrounded and cut off from supplies. So Lysychansk and Severodonetsk are done, and the only thing that Ukrainians are hoping is to not be caught. It says here that Russian trying to encircle Ukrainian forces around Lysychansk. That's another article a little bit earlier than the one stating that Ukrainian troops may need to pull back. And that little article said from the Telegraph, the Russian forces are trying to encircle Ukrainian troops defending the frontline eastern city of Lysychansk, a senior Ukrainian defense official said online briefing. The enemy has not stopped trying to create conditions for the encirclement of units of our forces in the Lysychansk area, said Oleksiy Gromov, deputy chief of the main operational department of the general staff. So this guy is the one was the governor who said that we gotta move away, we might move, and this guy said, well, we need to move as well because they're about to encircle us. And this is the deputy chief of the main operation department of the general staff, and the other one was the governor, regional government Serhiy Gaidai. So two Ukrainians stating that, hey, we gotta leave Lysychansk as well, not only Severodonetsk, because the Russians will encircle us, and we're gonna be lost, because I don't think the Ukrainians will have the manpower to push the front back in order to save these guys. I stated 2 weeks ago that the signs coming from like a switch in the mass media, that you would find certain expressions or certain words used over there that you didn't find before, could give us a hint that things are not going well at all for the Ukrainians in trying to push back the Russians. Then we had some statements that came from certain Western leaders that who they hinted that maybe the Ukrainians should try to speak with the Russians and maybe find a solution for a peace a peace solution. The problem is, as I stated many times before, you don't want to uh, try to make peace with someone when you are not having the upper hand, obviously. The problem is Ukraine did not have the upper hand at all in this war. It had only the lower hand. The problem is how low can you get? And the Russians will figure out, will sense how low you are. Therefore, if they see that you are on a very accelerated um, decrease of descendant, then you descending how say trajectory, then they will wait until you hit the ground, and then when you hit the ground, you have nothing to deal. You have no aces in your sleeves, and you have to unconditionally surrender or something. Otherwise, you will face destruction because you will not have any more armies to fight the Russians. And I think that's the direction we're heading. The Russians do not want to conquer Ukraine, contrary to what some people below 86 IQ in the corporate media in the West are claiming. They never stated that. And what would be the person to get about what? Now, let's say 30 million Ukrainians, hostile Ukrainians in a territory that you cannot control. You're going to have guerrilla war and opposition and problems from now on. Why would you want that? No, I don't think that's going to happen. And then it's a big surface, it's big land, country. So you can't just peacify it, like, okay, we're going to be peace and calm here, tranquility. You're going to have guerrilla wars, and it's a lot of weapons over there, a lot of commanders, generals, whatever, that will not lay down their arms. So nevertheless, the Russians, I think the Ukrainians will, that's my assessment, will run out of personnel to fight the war. The West, some Western countries can keep sending some used and a low number of weapons to Ukraine, but you're going to need people to actually use them. And once the Ukrainians will not be around or willing to do that anymore, then what are you going to do? You're going to use your trainers, so-called trainers, and how do you call the other ones? Advisors, military advisors, to do what? Because supposedly they're just over there training the Ukrainians and they're just the advisors. I personally, I'm very skeptical that that's true because, you don't have to look too far back in history to find out that it happened before and it was nothing like that. They were active combatants. So I don't have any proof that's the case here, but when you got burned like 50 times already, the 51st time, you don't believe it anymore. I mean, you're a stupid guy if you believe it. So that's why I'm sorry, can't believe that those guys are just staying over there, front line, and tell the Ukrainians how to use the whatever equipment they received from their bosses over there. I don't think that happens. They say, okay, well, the Russians are shooting at us. I will not shoot because it's I received orders not to do. I'm just here to train and to advise. I don't believe that. Zero. That's how much I believe that to be true. So nevertheless, Severodonetsk is gone. Lysychansk, it seems like the Ukrainians are leaving it and they're afraid to be encircled. So they're going to move back towards Kiev. We'll see what happens next. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.